Hello, today we're going to be looking at LookX specifically for architects and designers. This is a great tool for image generation in that early concept phase. It is also great for image to image processes, as you can see on the screen, going from images of origami, of crumpled paper, of sketches, of models, and make that into great renders or great images. LookX has been on the radar and been developing from 2016. This is the English counterpart of a company called LookX. So let's take a dive into the software. This is going to be a brief overview what this software is capable of, and the landing page as you arrive on it just gives you this high-level preview of what can be done with the software. So if you click on an image, for example here, you can immediately see how that image was generated, so that prompt, what rendering style, the output effect, seeds, and we'll be getting deeper into these parameters. What's interesting is that you can sometimes see the base image, so we can use a base image, so a reference image, to then condition that final output. So we have that similarity between the two. If you click this center button here, you can always see that comparison between that base image and that final image. You can really see how the two compare. Okay, we're going to jump first into Start Creations. You can see on the top right, this is a tool which offers 100 free credits for you to begin testing this out and before getting a full subscription. And there are two main settings. The first one is the render mode on the top left, and the second is an explore mode. Explore mode is better in terms of having more control over what models we're going to be using. So you can pick different models which have been pre-trained by LookX to generate different quality images. And render mode is great because you can have much more control over that input. So that input can be a conceptual massing, a Rhino model, or hand sketch at various levels of detail. It can be a photorealistic photo, so do image to image based on an actual image of a building, or simply generate plans or a site plan here. So we're going to start by simply generating a single image. I'll walk you through some parameters, and in the right side what you can do is see your past generated images, explorations, and so on. If I click on one, you can see these prompts on the right and the model that I used. So if I were to, for example, copy this prompt, you can see in order from top to bottom we have the base settings. These are essentially choosing what model to use, and we're going to stick with the default for now. You can choose LoRa settings. LoRa settings, it adds a level of detail. It is a smaller model, but you can control, for example, what style to add to that final image. This is not necessary, however, you can add it and choose one model when generating these images. Okay, the very key thing here is to add in prompts. So prompt can be manually written, or you can, for example, type in a beach house or however you like it and have AI elaborate and develop a text. So you can accept that text or simply click on the Labels tab and go between these options on form, on style, simply to describe what architecture, what product, or what design you're interested in doing. Okay, what's great here is that you can also add that reference image. So say, for example, you wanted to add image of a tower, and maybe not call it beach house, I'll call it a beach tower. And this is going to be based on a model called Midas. Midas essentially is a depth map image, which takes the depth of an image. In this case, because we're starting with the sketch input, we're going to use, for example, canny edges, which takes those those contours of the sketch. And right at the bottom, you can see how many numbers of creations. So each creation is 1 credit, and you can you can click on these. The baseline is usually 4. While this loads, you can also see there's more settings at the bottoms. There's sample steps. The longer the more steps you add, the more resolution you will get, and the more this image diffusion process continues for. The other settings you can keep as the standard. However, what's interesting right at the bottom is the seed value. The seed value at -1, it's a random generation across different images. If you wanted to generate that same image, you could control it. For example, I want the seed to be 100 or so. So you could actually go back, get the information of that image, and replicate those results. Okay, so just to then show you, oh, here we go. So it's got that beachy vibe, and you can kind of see that resemblance between the output and the input. Now, just to give another example of that sketch, let me see here. You can kind of see a more curated prompt could generate a much higher resolution image. So a tower in a city and so on. You can see the prompt here. If you wanted to upscale this image and make it higher resolution, you can click on this HD tab here, and you can upscale it by 2, by 4, restore details, and so on. So feel free to test those out, or simply download that image right there. Okay, so the next modality, that was explore mode, is to go on render mode. Now, for this case, I'll use, for example, hand sketch and replicate that similar process. So here you could input a sketch, and essentially the settings at the top are very similar. All you have to do here is add what type of control you want to give the model. So is it very similar to that input image? Does it vary from that input image? Or you can customize that level. And so here it's good to specify that final image you want it to look like a render. And here you can add your text prompt. In this case, I will go for a more product approach. So let's test out, for example, this object, this product, and this really shows the versatility of this software, and not just being able to do architecture, but being able to generate a wide variety of images. You can also add a style, a reference image, to condition the quality of that image. So it's really great to kind of compare having it without that reference image or having it with it. Now, instead of running it, I'll just show you some examples of what that could look like. And if we take this input image here, you can get pretty compelling outputs and pretty high resolution you can kind of see on these elements of the image. So feel free to test out different prompts, test out different reference images, or even crumpled paper, and see what type of results you get. Now, the very classic crumpled paper, or in this case I'm using an origami sketch, can kind of show how you can generate architecture from very simple inputs. And now this is an image of a origami sketch, but this could also be a Rhino model, a massing model, where that controlling what edges show and what type of display settings you use is important. So do try a few variations when running this. You can try to replicate some of those results. Some final benefits when using the software is that you can also explore different models. These are pre-trained models based on specific styles. Some are LoRa models, and some are just normal models that you can simply go into that explore mode and select. And you can also train your own models, and there are a few other functionalities we'll get into in another video. Have fun playing with this, and curious to see what you guys can come up with. Bye.